Yes, hello. Welcome to the Back 40 here at House Gamble, the Oasis, as we welcome you to another edition of Gamble and Finn Reality Check, larger than life. Fred, cheers.
Here we are. Cheers to you, Fred.
Is
Beautiful night. Couldn't ask for a better night than this.
Couldn't ask for a better night to be out here amongst nature, and I got to be honest with you.
Nothing's been killed in the woods tonight either.
No, that's true. Yeah, we didn't have the Yeti tonight
Right.
like we had last week.
And
Apparently,
I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you it's not raining tonight, the first time ever.
really, oh, that's
Confidently, I'm saying that.
We actually have decent weather. It looks like
do.
it's going to hold.
Yeah.
What you may hear in the background, though, apparently
Right.
there is some sort of redneck drag racing running up
Right.
and down
Hey, dude.
Highway 18.
You're in Boone County, Kentucky. You take you get a little.
Well, let me tell you something, man.
Yes.
I live in Milford.
You do.
And I can certainly hear plenty
Yeah.
of noises that you would not normally classify, although I'm in the foothills of Indian Hill. So
You are. You gotta
maybe
be careful.
I got the nice hoopties.
Right. Well, normally when it's Boone County Fair time, which will probably, I presume, will not occur in August, the trailer, whatever the hell it's called, you know what I mean?
Tractor
the
pull.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can hear that all night long.
That's outstanding. Because
I
they
didn't
do it
do
out
so
in the
good.
open
I'm
air.
struggling with words tonight.
They used to do those at the Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center, and it was always great because any brain damage that anybody in my generation has was caused from those things, because the people would
Right.
bring their kids in and they'd have the headphones on, but you were just breathing in that carbon monoxide like it was nobody's business. So
Well,
if
hang
I get
on.
a couple of math problems wrong tonight, it's because I went to a few tractor pulls.
I'm just going to inject this because we may come off a little bit tonight. I don't know that we're going to follow we've been following a really pretty solid script. I mean, the last
Structure.
Monday structure. Thank you.
Yes.
Thursday and then Saturday we did a little fill-in shift once I figured out that it was PM rather than AM Saturday evening. But we've been talking almost nonstop. First, for months, it was the coronavirus. Not that still isn't going on. But recently it's been the protest. But I'll tell you a quick story about Louisville. You ever been to Louisville Motor Speedway?
A long time ago, yeah.
So when Jerry Carroll, who owned Turfway Park at the time, which is now leveled, by the way, who owned and started Kentucky Speedway, he bought Louisville Motor Speedway because he had a NASCAR truck race. And Jerry was kind of a guy who liked to do things, the right way. If you had a suite, he wanted it for the affluent. I'll never forget the look on his face when we went in the suites at Louisville Motor Speedway. It was like canned peas and corn.
Boiled peanuts.
Oh, my God, dude. It was
Yeah.
but I tell you what, it was one of the most fun nights because it was Friday night. It was like somebody from the neighborhood brought a car, an absolute piece of dung, and their whole objective was to get it on the track and keep it on the track.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not that different than Edgewater. They
Same-
did a
same
lot of that
principle.
the same way here. But as we digress,
Yes,
we
my
use
bad.
that to remind you that that's sort of what we do. It's what we're about. We try to stay on topic, but we're not always 100% sure what the topics are going to be. The beauty of this versus the LW show is that we can dive a little bit deeper if we want
Right.
to. We can go a little bit further if we'd like. But we try to hit a number of things that we promise you we will. We talked about day drinking briefly last week. We talked about binge watching. I have a question for you about
Okay.
binge watching, especially
I was just
now.
doing some of that before the
Yes,
show.
you
as
were.
know.
And now
Right.
that your better half is out of town,
Yes.
I can ask you this, even though she's probably watching and she may
I
get mad
believe
at
she
me.
is.
I want to ask you a little bit about cartoons, since
Okay.
you thought we were originally going to be on Saturday morning.
Right, we were going to talk about that because it made sense then.
I wanted to talk about Saturday morning cartoons,
All
but
right.
since then another story has come up that might just completely blow your head right off your neck. Let's see, what else are we going to get to? Restaurants are continuing to open back up.
They
You
are.
guys have been experiencing some of those, but we're going to look at this from if we were the restaurant owners. What have we seen that we like? What have we seen that we think is stupid? And if we owned restaurants, Fred, God forbid, based on our recipes, but how
Right.
would we run those restaurants right now as we're reopening? There's all kinds of other stuff. We have a positive story we told you about.
how about
We're gonna-
that?
We're going to do something called Be Positive unless we can't sell it, and then we're going to get rid of the positive stories.
We have a number of things that we're going to try and sell, and,
Yes.
and hopefully they sell or they'll go away.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
They will be
right?
replaced by other terrible puns that
Right.
are very sellable.
Sure.
And then we may revisit a story or two that we've talked about either off air or on, and then we'll have a chance to wing it on a couple of other things. For instance, Louisville Motor Speedway. Now, I do want to share, we do have 3 cameras working tonight.
Yeah, we do, but
The
I don't know
production-
which one to. I'm not
You,
worried
you
about
look
it.
there.
Oh,
we
I am
both
looking
look there,
Okay.
and then I think I look at this one.
Okay, I think you. Well, I'm telling you, The side view of you last week.
It was not good.
It was bad.
It was not good. And
was
I
bad.
lodged my complaint with the union, and it looks like we have a kind of a flattening the curve sort of angle on me. Now, I also have a little trick that I came up with.
Yeah?
This shirt is a 5X, so hopefully that helps.
Well, you've lost some. Let's be honest. You've lost what, 13 or 14 pounds?
About 14.
All right, that's
anywhere
good.
between 1 and 15 pounds.
That's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
You
so-
got to do it slowly so it stays off.
Yeah, and I'm putting this right here
Right. I see
just
that.
because it's much easier to read.
Okay.
Okay.
All
So,
right. That's a good idea.
all right, so let's talk
Yes.
because we talked about George Floyd. We've seen what's been going on. It looks like there's a chance meaningful change
Yeah.
could be coming to a police department and or a community near you. Let's hope that is the case. We've talked, I think, till our heads are about to fall off about COVID, which apparently is protest proof.
Right.
That's something we can say for LW.
Well, and that's why we're sitting a little bit farther apart.
Yes.
Our social distancing has been expanded so that we follow protocol. But that is one thing. I've heard a number of people, just people in passing and talking about, wait a minute, I can't go here. We're only at this % capacity. You can't do this.
Have a graduation.
Right, but it's perfectly okay for a lot of – I mean, you talk about Saturday in New York City, 10 to 15,000. And granted, some are wearing masks. There's still debate over whether there's any validity to that or not. But nonetheless, it doesn't send a very good message.
Well, and here's the thing. We talked about these arbitrary dates that are now being thrown out by government as to when something can open back up, water parks and amusement parks and all this stuff. I think now that they've seen these protests, the government can go, oh, you can open anything you want because we're going to blame it on the protests now if we want to. So these things are working in conjunction. I've heard that the virus itself may be weakening a little bit, so we can only hope that continues to be the case. But honestly, that's not what we're here to talk
Was
about.
that your weekly call with the CDC?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
I usually check in down in Atlanta.
I always wait for that update because I need to know what's going on.
I try to make sure that you get all the
Well,
news
thank you.
that's fit
Appreciate
to print. God, how long has it been since that was a
Fit to
thing?
print?
Yikes. So let me ask you this. Let's
Yes.
talk a little day drinking.
All
We're
right.
doing early evening drinking. We had some stories. I think we ended up talking about were you a beer drinker early? Do you do vodka? I think anything early in the day. But are you Bloody Marys? You're not a Bloody Mary guy.
I mean, I don't dislike Bloody Marys, but I was just more beer. But the issue for me was more sun related. It was sun early, heat, and the extended part of the day. In other words, way back. Well, I mean, back in my 20s, I had some staying power. I could go all day.
Yeah.
I've got 3 stories.
All right.
And
Well,
they won't-
let's fire when ready. I have one that
Well-
actually incorporates everything you just said perfectly.
One doesn't involve me, but we used to go to the infield at the Kentucky Derby.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you've ever been to the infield of the Kentucky Derby, you know you're not there for the race
No.
because for the most part you can't even really see the race. But one of the greatest scenes, and I thought this is one of those where if you have friends like this, you don't need friends. Fred was so loaded that his buddies took him. They put him up on his knees. They had him leaning forward. They pulled his pants down, and they stuck a beer bottle in his crack.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Oh my God!
So
because I was just
he was drawing a mess you can imagine, and they just left him there. And I mean, honestly, if you're just an onlooker, a passerby, you're not going over there and dealing with that. He would. You talk about if it had happened more today in the video age. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that guy would be CEO.
So there's
in no
that.
time.
I think I told you about the one day I was out at the Kentucky Speedway.
Before you go there,
Okay.
can I tell you this? Because
You
I was
sure
going to
can.
tell you one, and until you brought up the Derby and the
Oh.
infield, I was going to tell you about me and my buddies. We went to the infield, and we saw a guy face down in the mud, which happened to be right next to the portalets. So
Right.
mud is a relative term.
I know where this is going. I
Coke
bet.
bottle shoved up his ass.
Really?
Not a beer bottle. It was
This
one of
was
those
beer
old
bottle.
school
I
green
know,
Coke
right,
bottles,
right.
and they were a very recognizable shape. I'm sure he loved the tapered end, but he was out cold,
Yeah,
and
this
his head
kid-
was off to the side.
Oh, this guy had trust me, the next day he was told that or shown
Yeah.
via a photograph.
I have another Derby story I'll tell you, but go ahead.
Derby's great. Those Speedway was one of the days. Peter Frampton was in concert, and they were kind enough at Channel 5 at the time to give me suite passes. And this is when I got to meet the governor. And you know me, I could care less.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it was Steve Bashir. And we were down. When we went down, myself and one other guy went down to the owner's suite because I knew all those guys. And that cop outside looked at us like, you're not getting in here. And I said, hey, I'm here to see Mr. So-and-so. And they got him. And, of course,
Are
he
ya?
let us in. And then we were introduced to the governor, and I just like, hey, how you doing? I mean, I don't care. You know, like
You didn't curtsy?
No, I don't give a damn about that stuff. Politicians are clowns, in my opinion, so I could have cared less. But the one day that I remember more than any, you may remember this, and I do not like country music, but back in the day, I don't think it was about the music. Do you remember when WUBE had Free Day in the Country?
No.
You remember that?
No.
So it was
I'm sure they did, but I hate.
Well, I can't
pop
stand
country, so
either.
no.
If I ever hear Florida Georgia Line play another song, I might do some things that I might regret. But it was all day long. Started at, I don't know, 10 or 11 in the morning, and all I know is after about 3 or 4, I can't tell you anything.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was hot. I looked like a lobster. I think there may have been some vomiting involved later on when I was not on property. I mean, I think made it home.
Yeah, I would throw in the disclaimer as well if you ever want to be invited back.
Oh no, I won't go back.
Oh.
It was so miserable that you know how when you get that like heat,
Yeah.
and like you know it's like 4 or 5 and you're ready for bed, but you still got to, because you don't want to be the one that gives up,
Right.
that says I can't do it anymore. Today I would just give up. I
Give
would
the
just
old
go to the
Irish
car.
exit. Zoop, see ya. Where'd Tom go?
And I did, and I'll throw in one more on you. I actually went to a Jimmy Buffett concert one time, and
You're forgiven, by the way.
And, thank you. And it started at noon, and I had to leave the show a little early because I'd been overserved. And I went out to get in what I thought was the car of the person who had driven me there, and I got in the back seat of a car that wasn't the right car. And can you imagine this dude when he came out with his girlfriend or wife, and they opened the door, and I'm in the back seat. Fortunately, they didn't beat my ass, and they probably looked at me. I mean, I scared the hell out of them, obviously. But I was in the wrong car. I just got out. I think I fell out, and they just drove away.
Yeah, I'm sure they tell that same story with just as much fervor.
They might change it a bit.
As you do.
At least I didn't do anything in there.
Oh, God. We another Derby story. We went to the infield, and the whole key to the whole Derby, the infield, is how are you going to sneak your booze in? You know?
Oh, yeah.
And that's maybe a whole
Loaves
other topic.
of bread was one of the
Loaves of bread
yeah.
is good, but they started because they would squeeze the bread if you hollowed it out and put it in and put the ends on. You could do that, but that could be a whole other topic, honestly, because our buddies from the Rock on the Range party crew figured out ways to sneak it in up there.
Well, back when I was writing for the Post, I covered the Derby, and one of my stories one year was I went down to the security at that gate to check people, and that was very interesting.
Yeah, I got a lot of free cans of sunscreen leaving there because they wouldn't let you bring in the spray sunscreen.
You're right.
I got a lot of good cans of sunscreen.
Did you beat the system?
We were we were part. Oh, at the Derby. Yes, we did.
Okay,
but we also knew that once you got into the infield, I mean, you had the Twin Spires that you could use as your marker, but a lot of people would take like a flag and they would plant a flag wherever their camp area was, so that you could find your friends. We didn't have that, so we stopped at I think it was called Convenient Food Mart, and we bought these 12 yellow cardboard party hats with Smurfs on them, with the rubber band, the cones.
I remember.
And we bought a pack of 12 of those, and each one of us wore it in the infield all day because we didn't even have to know where everybody was because people would be going, hey, your friends are right over there. They would tell us, hey, your buddies are right over there. I was so schmammered later in the day that a guy offered me $100 for mine, and I said no because I'll never get home. $100, and I had an extra one. I forgot.
They had to find you because of the hat.
That's what they found, but people would point us in the direction. So, but again, that's a whole different level of stamina. The best story I have is, and again, I was there, but it happened to my buddy Matt. Oh, sorry, Jeff.
Jeff. Well, it's Jeff Matt. Matt's his middle name.
Yeah, it's a nickname.
Right.
It's a nickname. First name Door. We went down to Florida, and we had a place on the beach. And we thought, okay, we're going to get up and we're going to fire hard and heavy. We had 2 handles of rum, 2 handles of tequila, everything. There was 4 of us, and each of us had 3 gallons of booze per person. So we started making these margaritas or whatever, something that requires ice and a noisy machine. And we started making these things. And about 45 minutes in, we're looking, and we've used about, I don't know, that much of the rum. And I'm like, this isn't going to get it done. We got to accelerate the pace. So by the time we decided to go out to the beach, it was, I don't know, 11:45 in the morning. And we had gone through the entire gallon of rum and that much of the second bottle. So we really picked up the pace. Well, we go out. We don't get out there. We're not out there 5 minutes before he's like dropping F-bombs left and right. I'm like, what happened? He goes, I lost my glasses. His glasses fell off into the ocean. Varney sunglasses. He goes, I lost my glasses. And he's he's pissed. And again, it's not even noon. And he's stomping all around. And finally, his better half says, I think that's them. And they washed up, and we found them.
Really?
We're like, wow, that somebody must be looking out for us because whatever. And he says, I think I need to go back inside. And so I said, okay, what makes you say that? And I turned around, and he had just gone, boom, flat down in the sand. And he got up, and he had sand right on the tip of his nose. And he stood up. He goes, yeah, I got to go back in. So I walked him in, and I go, well, do you want to lay on the couch, or what do you want to do? And he just went, boom, on the floor right next to the island. I'm like, you're on your own now. I went back out to the beach.
Well,
and he woke up at 7 o'clock bitching that why were we in there making breakfast, and making all this noise. It was 7 p.m. and we were making dinner.
Well,
so he lost a whole day.
You just mentioned the beach. Inn on the Beach. We stayed at a place in Daytona called Inn on the Beach. You just reminded me of another one. And there were 5 of us who went down there after our senior year. And so not a good idea. We made the typical pyramid of beer cans, right? And then one of these dumbasses that we were staying with was worked up because for whatever reason the cable wouldn't work. So he called and they sent up security.
Oh,
so
good.
we had the beer and we had maybe
some other things.
Some other things in there. So that was an issue. But the best of the whole trip was, so we rotated. We had 2. So you got 2 in each of the double beds, and then one dude on the chair or the floor or wherever. So one of the guys down there with us played football, and he actually wound up playing football at Miami. 6'6", 330, huge dude. And one of the guys on his night that he wasn't sleeping in the beds was just blitzed beyond repair. He kept trying to climb into bed with the big dude. And the big dude was like, dude, I'm going to beat your ass, basically. So he goes to the bathroom, into the bathroom, and you hear all these horrendous sounds. He's vomiting, right?
Yeah.
And you hear, guys, man, I need some help in here. And that big dude, he's like, all I'm going to tell you is you better clean that up. So this clown, he cleaned it up. He took every towel we had in the bathroom, wiped it up. So we wake up the next morning, nice morning in Florida, go out, and all the towels are hanging.
Oh, my God.
He took them out on the balcony and hung them over the edge.
Still covered in the
just
wretched
horrifying.
refuse. Oh, my God.
And we also had another guy who threw our mattress in the pool from like the 6th floor. Okay. Yeah, we had to buy a new mat. It was
so day drinking, kids. If you've learned anything at all from this show,
wait till night.
Yeah, wait till the nighttime. We're not saying don't do it. Just try to remember the stories. So one day, if you get a show in his backyard, you can talk about it.
I got to be honest with you though. As long as you don't do anything so stupid that you cause harm to yourself or others.
Yeah, don't be driving or doing anything stupid like that.
We weren't. We were all.
Well,
sedentary.
Feel free to share stories in the comments if you'd like. Also, like and share what you're watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we're getting we're almost to 150 subscribers there. We're trying to get to 1 million. So we're just we're
just getting
shy.
started. Things take time.
Yeah, we would appreciate the support. But like, share, comment. Yater's on, Mel's on, Sean Havlin, Sheila Foreman, Bob McGahee, a handful of others. Lisa. Missed last week, but she's the one that typically sets up our drinking game,
right?
So we don't know what the rules
are.
Yeah, we don't know what the triggers are for our drinking game. So my understanding is you can be pretty plowed by the time it's over based on some of the things that we do on a regular basis.
This is a nighttime story. This isn't funny, but it kind of is. So one guy I went to high school with, he drove home at the end of the night. This is when you know, and you should not drink and drive. So I am not condoning this. This is awful. But you got to admit, back in the day, I felt like back when we were in that age, if you got pulled over, they got you home a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they made sure you got
the good old days.
So
shot you up with a little heroin and dragged you home.
He came home.
How is this a good story?
This is real. It gets worse.
This is not a good story.
No, this is awful.
Here we come, sponsors.
Here we go. Yeah. Drink responsibly.
Yes.
Right?
Don't do as we say, not as we know other people do.
He had his dad's car, drove home, parked in the middle of it was a back street, like a neighborhood, parked in the middle of the street. Thought he was in the driveway. That's a problem. That's an issue.
That's
right?
not good.
And naturally, you know what's next? Somebody plowed right into it.
Of course.
So you can imagine he's asleep. Parents are asleep. Dad's car, nice car. Fred hit him right in the ass of the car, and the entire family, except, of course, he couldn't come out.
Yeah.
That didn't go over so good.
So good.
It did.
But it was just the car in the street.
Oh, just the
Okay.
no, just the car.
I thought you were going
Everybody-
to say, and then it ran over a line of ducks. That
No.
were across the street, and
Everybody was
baby
okay.
squirrels
But again,
and 3 babies.
a reminder:
and-
please drink responsibly.
Yeah, drink responsibly, and don't drive your dad's car and park it in the middle of the street for
Or,
God's
wait,
sake.
I got one more for you. This is bad.
We're out of time.
No,
we are
yeah.
out of time.
So I was at a concert when you were the general manager at Bogue. I'll blame your ass for this one.
Great.
It was Hinder. It was the Hinder show.
Oh yeah.
And
Was
I
that the strip poker night?
at actually
When
I
we
think-
did strip poker
I
with
think
Hinder?
it was. Well,
Yeah.
if you remember,
I vaguely remember.
well, when I arrived, I can tell this. I don't really care. When I arrived, one of the girls there who I think was participating in the strip poker, I had just walked in. This was a night. I don't know whether you set this up or not, but it was a hell of a way to welcome me. She goes, "Would you like to see my?"
Oh yeah.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
what's a man to say?
Yeah.
I'd be disparaging her profession.
Yeah.
I
It's
felt-
an insult. It's like belching, after
Right.
a meal in Asia.
Not gonna lie,
It's a-
she was rather attractive.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. I guess sometimes get off track.
Therefore, you are.
So it's the end of the night, and I will tell you, I didn't drink because I was driving.
Right.
The guy who was with me was a passenger. He was not driving. He was obliterated. We parked on Jefferson Avenue.
Okay.
So
Your first mistake.
I'm in a van, old van that had the WLWT Blitz 5 tailgate stickers on the door, right? Because we used to use that when we
Sure.
ran the Blitz 5 tailgate. So I look over.
Sorry, I'm just keeping track of all these people we cannot call to sponsor us.
Yeah,
now.
they're all friends. Vogel, he'll be out here with us in a couple weeks tasting some bourbon, but nonetheless. So I get in, I'm ready to start the car, and I hear like this trickling sound. And I look over, he's urinating out the car door, right? In the gutter. I look up on the sidewalk, and here comes one of the UC cops on a Segway.
There you go.
And I'm thinking, this is great. Well, I had no issue because I literally didn't have a drink,
Sure.
which was tough, but I didn't. And so what saved us was the Channel 5 logo.
Oh yeah.
He came driving, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" And I said hi to him, and he gets back in the car. I'm like, "You got to be the dumbest ass I've ever." I mean, right, Jefferson Avenue.
So let this be a lesson, kids. When you're
Yeah,
hosting
I'm in
a show,
I teach. I'm
Yeah.
in a teaching moment.
then we are.
tonight.
This is a teachable moment. When you decide to do a topic called day drinking, make sure all of your stories are about night drinking. Are we clear?
Well, I told you, AM, PM. I struggle. It's all
Not
good.
your strong suit. Military time. We're gonna have to go to military time. Fred.
That same guy there at one of my son's graduation parties.
God's sakes.
I don't. I might as well incriminate him. He's,
No.
okay.
Your stuff looks too nice back here. You can't let that
Well, I
happen.
did it.
Oh, okay. Well, then say his name. I don't
He didn't
give
do
a
a
shit.
damn thing with this year, but he's a great guy. We have a lot of fun together. He fell asleep in a lounge chair out here in the backyard 5 feet away from where they were setting off fireworks. So we're violating that code, too.
You know what? Narcolepsy.com. If you'd like to make a donation, go right ahead.
You ever know anybody who had narcolepsy?
I think I've had it for the last 8 minutes.
Have you now? It's not nice.
No, actually, you can see through my glasses, so you know I've been awake. Oh, my God. Hey, don't forget, like, share, subscribe at our YouTube channel, Gamble, Capital, and Finn. We'd appreciate it if you would do that. Handful of comments. Lisa said she's not drinking tonight. She may still have the rules to the drinking game, but she is actually not drinking, but is thankful that Facebook and camera phones did not exist during her younger years.
I think everybody is.
I did have a question about what color is my hair tonight. Should we address that now?
Just pull the hat
want
off.
to?
It's ungodly.
How about that right there? Can you
I was
close
gonna.
up?
I
Can
was
we get
gonna
the
tell
zoom
you
in
who
on
I-
that?
Who I thought you were starting to look like.
Yeah, I look like fat Aaron Hernandez, but still alive.
Okay,
How about that? Who do you think I look like?
I'm not going to tell you
Oh,
because
what?
you won't do the show ever with me
Oh,
again. Just
well, when it was long, you said I looked like Melissa McCarthy. So,
well, or you look like the catcher for Cal State Fullerton's softball team.
oh,
One of the
the
two.
women's team.
Yeah, softball. Yes, I'm just saying.
Who do I look like now, Fred? You can tell me.
No.
Say it. I don't.
No.
What am I going to do? Storm
Let's
out?
go on it.
My car's blocked in your driveway.
I've already
I can't
taken
go
up too
anyway.
much time, so get on to the next damn subject.
Oh, my God. I just saw this on the screen. That is a really good look. It's good, too. I like the zoom because you cut the top of my head off, so that's perfect. I love it. Thanks. We're just this is kind of on the fly. When we say we're winging it, this is what we're talking about. Now, something I did want to talk about because Saturday we were supposed to be on. We thought we were going to be on in the morning. Again, another AM PM issue.
Yes. And we promoted Thursday night. We were on Saturday morning at 9 a.m.
And one of the things I wanted to talk about was Saturday morning cartoons, the good old days. You would get up and you'd get your cereal or your Pop-Tart or whatever it was, and you watch Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner and all of that stuff. Tom and Jerry. There were a couple of others. And that was, you had about a 2-hour stretch.
Right.
You know, maybe 8 to 10, 7 to 9, whatever. That's what you look forward to. Well, now there's Cartoon Network, there's this, there's that, and the other. But I'd finally figured out how to download the HBO Max. Because my HBO Now went to HBO Max. And so part of what they have is Warner Brothers Looney Tunes. So I went back and started watching some old school cartoons. Then I'm like, oh, man, Bugs Bunny Roadrunner is my favorite. Because I laugh out loud every single time one of those things goes wrong. I don't know if it's Schadenfreude, I don't know what, but it always reminded me. There was a broadcast company that we've both worked for that I said should have changed their name to Wile E. Coyote Broadcasting, because every single thing that they tried to do just right at the very last second just was foiled time and time again. But that made me laugh.
I've had a couple of companies like that, to be honest with you, radio related.
Now.
Yes.
Did you see the story this week about the new Warner Brothers Looney Tunes that are coming out?
I have not, but I can only imagine.
Elmer Fudd will no longer be carrying a gun. And they said a rifle, even though it was a shotgun.
Right.
He will no longer be carrying a gun. He is now going to be carrying a scythe. Do you know what a scythe is? Or scythe?
I think it's
SCYTH. It's that big hook thing that they use to like cut down weeds and hay and all that stuff. It's a giant hook blade.
I thought that was a sickle.
Same
thing?
kind of thing, I think, but that's what they're saying. But he's not carrying a gun because of gun violence. So I think we got that fixed. Jesus. Let's move on.
Really? Come on.
And I think I saw the same thing about Yosemite Sam. How's he going to fire himself up into the air if he can't use his pistols?
Do you like the Jetsons?
I did not like the Jetsons that much. No. Judy was kind of
Popeye?
Popeye was okay until Robin Williams did that live Popeye, and I didn't like that.
Cartoons for me were the buffer to get me to noon so I could watch big time wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. Oh, we watched wrestling. It came on.
It was on the UHF. For me, it was on 22 out of Dayton, WKEF, I believe.
And was it Lance Russell and Dave Brown doing yours?
Yeah,
the guys that did. That's where Jerry the King Lawler and
absolutely
Billy Dundee and all those guys. Coco Beware,
Haystacks Calhoun,
all the big guys.
Brazil.
And it was done in a TV studio, like with folding chairs around three sides of the ring. And Lance Russell and Dave Brown. That was great, man. And that's maybe another topic for another night. But wrestling, when you would go out and see wrestling at Louisville Gardens or I'm sure Cincinnati Gardens, there was no TV. Correct. So there's all these old people, like really old people,
man, they were
in the front row
that
were into it, just shaking their canes and MFing the guys. And the guys would
they were
spit
serious,
too. Oh, yeah, they were.
Yeah.
The good guys were the good guys, and the bad guys were the worst guys.
Do you remember Pompero Firpo? Used to have a move called.
Isn't that your favorite Italian restaurant?
He put these little things on the tips of his fingers and called the El Garfio. And if he got you in the El Garfio, you were El Fini. You were done. You were out.
That one got by me. I don't really remember any big finishing moves. I just remember people coming over and talking to Lance and Dave and them being shocked by everything that was happening. But boy,
Brazil had the cocoa butt.
Oh, the cocoa butt. Yeah, you would remember. And he had a parrot, didn't he? Didn't he carry a parrot on his shoulder? Wasn't that him?
That one must have gotten by me.
Or is that Coco Beware?
That might be
Maybe,
Coco Beware.
Back in the day, you would go, and these people, they thought it was
nuts.
serious. But the wrestlers would spit on them because there were no cameras, so it didn't matter. It was great. It was great. That was the guys that took me to see that was the same guy I worked with at the ice company. Did I tell you about that guy?
I don't think so.
This guy worked at an ice company delivering bags of those 10-pound and 20-pound bags of ice. And after I did this, keep this in mind too, I never again went in and paid for one bag and took 6. Which I know people that did do.
Oh, yeah.
I never did that again because I know what a son of a bitch it was to fill those machines back up. But this guy got in the truck the very first day. We were down in some of the mean streets, if you will, of Louisville. And we get in the truck, and he says, that's a hand of God. He says, you got your ice pick? And I'm like, what? He goes, down by the door. Is your ice pick down there? And I said, well, yeah, but we don't sell block ice.
I know. I bet I know.
What's this for? He goes, well, we're going to go into some rough areas of town. He goes, if anybody jumps up on the truck, stab them in the eye and let's go. That was his advice. Just stab them in the eye and let's go.
Sorry I couldn't have joined that route.
Yeah, that was a fun
Sounds
job.
awesome.
I had some really great jobs as a youngster. But no, so yeah, no guns for Elmer Fudd.
See, now but the problem with that is not doing anything.
Doesn't make any difference at all.
No, it's so ridiculous.
None, because children are still going to chase other children around the neighborhood on rocket skates with forks and knives with napkins around
And
their
you know
neck.
what?
They're going to keep doing that.
Violent criminals are focused on Saturday mornings on cartoons.
Exactly.
Right? Come
Well,
on, man.
do you remember there was a short period of time
Seriously.
where in the Roadrunner cartoons, if the coyote went off the cliff, you would see him fall, and then he'd hit the ground and poof,
Well,
and then he would come out like
can't do that. Oh yeah,
he would come out like an accordion.
Yep.
Well, they got to a point where they would edit out him hitting the ground because
he took
of
a beating.
political correctness. Yeah, like if he blew up, they wouldn't show him blowing up.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole point of this whole cartoon. All of them, Tom and Jerry, all of these different ones. You know, Sylvester and Tweety. It's one chases the other. That's what they're all based on.
I just have this visual of you watching cartoons. It's kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, dude, I haven't changed.
No,
I'm
you shouldn't change.
I'm in my late 30s and I'm still watching SpongeBob. Come on now.
Your math isn't so good. but that's
I
okay.
I think I threw that disclaimer out there
Remember,
at the
drink
beginning.
responsibly, and remember, we need you to sponsor like the segment "Wing It."
Yeah, we got a segment we're going to call Wing It, which is ironically a prepared segment where we ad lib. But it really is.
And if you sell wings, if that's one of your specialties, we're all about you.
We will eat them and we will.
I have a couple ideas.
I think so. I think
do.
we have a few, and
a couple people
again,
who might make some sense.
some of you guys might not want to answer your phones over the next couple of weeks, but please do. Something else, again, don't forget to like and share. We appreciate you being here. Again, live from House Gamble, the back 40 here in the Oasis. A lovely night. The birds are chirping. The breeze is nice. Binge watching is something else we've been talking about. I came in tonight. Again, you were watching, and this is something you had already seen this one.
Well, there's
Chicago
a couple
PD.
of them, and I just flipped it on to see what joined it in the middle. Normally, I won't. If I can't see it from the beginning, I don't watch it kind of like half. I want to see the entire.
Well, you were telegraphing everything. You said, "Oh, this is the one with the bomb, and that guy's going to go up, and he's going to do," and you kind of ruined it for me. But that's okay.
Sorry, my bad.
I watched anyway. But so let me ask you this:
Yes.
on all the shows you're binge watching, whether it's Chicago PD or NYPD Blue or Law and Order, or any
I
one
love me
of
some
them.
NYPD Blue too. Sipowicz was my guy.
Oh yeah, because he sweat when he
he's
when he would
brutal.
eat.
And he had this
And I do
god
that,
awful
too.
short sleeve dress
Oh.
shirts.
Remember when he was dating Sharon Lawrence, who was the DA, and they
was
would go out to dinner hot.
hot.
So, and
yes.
this leads to my next question.
Very
but
sexy.
yeah, he would
Yes.
sweat when he ate. You remember
He did.
that?
Oh,
I do that.
I do that too.
I do that.
So that's
I'm
why I
sorry.
don't eat outside a lot.
I sweat when I watch other people eat. Okay, so this brings me to my next question. Who do you have the hots for in one of the shows that you're binge watching? Because I started binge watching one, and I'm like, that girl, for whatever reason, just really, really flips my switch.
The blonde who Hank Voight took in.
Was she a
Yeah.
vagrant or a cop or what?
She's a cop. She's on the.
Oh, is she the one that we saw?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I would agree.
she's hot.
What's her name?
I don't.
That's such a you're typical
Officer
typical
Hot.
man. Typical
Officer Hot.
man. She
Name-
has a name.
She does. I just don't happen to know it right now, and names are irrelevant. in this.
Officer-
Officer Hot. I think is her
Officer
name.
Hot Pants.
Hang on. Here at the
Okay.
back 40.
Oh, you gotta
When
love
you're done-
that.
I'll pick that up when we're done. I don't litter.
Yes, biodegradable cans. That's what we suggest. C with a circle. Have you ever seen Schitt's Creek?
No, you've asked me this. No,
No,
but you say it's good, right?
it's fantastic.
See, but I can't get.
Eugene Levy.
I can't get into another one. I
Oh,
can't-
you got-
I'm gonna
you've
be up
got
at
to.
My alarm's gonna be set for 2 a.m. Then I.
There's only. Oh,
It
is there?
Starts at Chicago PD again.
Well, if you watch Schitt's Creek, it's a great story. It's as if a family like the Kardashians went broke.
What's the? Okay, that's the
That's
premise.
the premise.
Okay.
And so they
So
bought.
basically, like they're up Schitt's Creek. Is
Yes.
that
Well,
okay.
no, they bought a town. Eugene Levy plays the dad, and his son in the show is actually his real son in real life. So he bought this town called Schitt's Creek as a joke for his son, like 10 years prior, as a birthday gift. Well, it was the only thing during the when they get busted perceived to have no value, so they're allowed to keep it. So they have to move there.
Got it.
So then they get in. Then it's like what it would be like if they had to live in this town. And the daughter is, totally that girl and the whole thing. And I think she was supposed to be the sex symbol of the show. but there's a girl named Stevie who is the girl who works at the hotel.
Now you know her name. That's good.
Yeah, well, I know because you know what? I'm a
impressive.
sensitive, caring man.
that's a bunch
I
of
know these
bullshit,
women have
too,
names
right.
and feelings, and she looks really hot in flannel. But there was just something about her, and
Well,
I don't
there's
know
something
it's
about a cop too, a female cop that's just hot about that in nature.
female detective or in full uniform.
Either or.
Yeah,
I'm not so overly selective.
because you're just picturing them naked anyway.
No, I
you are
don't know.
you
I like
are
good
a
conversation.
pig.
That's
But Stevie from Schitt's Creek, look her up. She's pretty hot. I think there's just something about that's that girl next door kind of thing.
you.
But I'm watching. I'm like, she's got a great attitude in the show. She nails the character, and I don't know. There's just something about her. I just thought. Did you ever? What about growing up? Was there anybody besides Farrah Fawcett on Charlie's Angels? Was there anybody in any show you watched? I guarantee you right now. You can say whatever you're going to say. I can guarantee you, at least one crusty tube sock is watching right now after what I'm about to tell you.
Well, I almost can't speak after that.
Sure you
But
can.
The Farrah Fawcett poster absolutely was on the wall.
Yeah.
Cheryl Teague's back. She was
But
hot.
a TV show that you were watching as a kid.
I didn't watch. I'm gonna be honest. I watched sport. I didn't watch that much TV.
Really?
I didn't.
All right.
I was outside until they told me I couldn't stay out there anymore. Not in front of these damn video games and on your phone. I was out because I didn't have a cell phone. But that's a whole other story.
And there were no video games.
Pac-Man.
Yeah. You had a rousing game of Pong where you were controlling both.
I remember Pong.
Yeah. No, Facts of Life.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Blair
Yeah.
from Facts of Life.
Well,
I'm telling you right now, she busted. Well,
don't tell Eddie Van Halen this, but Valerie Bertinelli was
Oh
pretty
yes,
hot. I
yeah,
mean that would have been one.
That's
for me,
another one
maybe,
from
yeah.
One Day at a Time.
One Day at a Time. Yep.
Yep, I would agree. Yeah, Mackenzie Phillips, not so much.
No.
When I came to find out that she had a massive drug problem, I wasn't, how shall we say, surprised.
Some of them do not surprise you.
No, but I would agree with you. Valerie Bertinelli, the feathered hair.
Well-
but I'm telling you, Blair from Facts of Life, and now based on my Stevie from Schitt's Creek, it should have been Joe.
Okay.
All right, I will turn my man card in on the way out of here. By the way, since I know all these names,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
guys
see,
are welcome to punch
it's
a hole
better
in
if
it
you don't know
and
the
get rid of it.
names.
No, I think it's good. Again,
It's the
I'm a
detective.
sensitive man.
Hey, by the way, I'm wearing my red shirt, hoping. Looks like they've now proposed a 76-game season.
that's
I'm
not
just
good
saying.
enough.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, I'll take whatever. Honestly, somebody play a sport.
This is back. This is from baseball back to the players now.
From baseball,
Or-
yes.
Okay.
I just heard this today. I can't hear it anymore. I just want some sport to play live.
All right. So Steve just said
Sorry.
Heather Thomas. Was she on T.J. Hooker? Was she on T.J. Hooker with?
Heather Thomas.
Was that the one with Captain Kirk? What's his name? What's Captain
William
Kirk's
Shatner?
name? William Shatner. Heather Thomas. There's Heather Locklear.
Heather Locklear was hot.
and Heather Thomas. But
Heather
Thomas was
Locklear married
Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee. No,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Who married the guitarist in Bon Jovi?
Oh, that was Heather Locklear.
That was Heather Locklear.
That's
right.
one of the greatest.
Pamela
moments.
Anderson married Tommy Lee.
Yes,
That was
Triumph
it.
the Insult Comic Dog. One of the greatest things ever. When he was at a Bon Jovi show. Did you ever see that interview with Bon Jovi?
Did
anybody see that?
Not a
No?
huge Bon Jovi fan,
Well,
but that's
but I'm a big Triumph the Insult Comic Dog fan, and he asked Richie Sambora if he feathered his pubes. Sorry. What else can we talk about?
well, hopefully something other than that.
Okay. We did talk about the fact that if we owned a restaurant opening back up, what have you seen when you've been out? 'Cause
Well-
everybody's not opening up the same
Well,
way.
And one of the things I would advise people, if you're getting ready to go out to a restaurant, call ahead, because some of them, I think they've had success with the carry out, et cetera. See, there you go. I've been out to eat 5 times, 4 different restaurants, and I will tell you that every one of them has been outstanding from the standpoint of the spacing and the proper,
Right.
what they're supposed to be doing, the cleanliness,
But-
the no menus, or the disposable menus, the mask on everybody there, the servers wearing gloves. I have no issue.
Is that
whatsoever.
sustainable, though, when you get back to full capacity?
Does it well, I mean, you mean
Not everybody can scan a QR code for their menu.
No,
not-
but here's what I
all
would
those
tell
things.
you. You brought this up earlier, and I agree. If what this does is it leads to restaurants being cleaner than they were previously when we, get back to normal, I think that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing, correct?
Well, and keep in mind, all this started because apparently as a society we don't wash our hands enough, when it really boiled down to it.
But are you really – but I got to be honest. Are you really going to change – now, you know me. I'm a bit of a germaphobe anyway. I do it all the time. But are you really going to – I know that people are supposed to be doing it now, but do you really think that those who normally didn't do it previous are going to go back and continue that? Washing their hands like
I would like to
now.
think so.
Well, you'd like to think
because
so.
Because I think it's so maddening that I think it's become rote, which is I think what anything needs to become a habit that needs to happen.
But
so
again,
I do think that will
but
happen.
But look at the already blatant disregard for social distancing. Even though they continue to beat it into you need to be doing this, people aren't doing it anymore.
Well, everybody does know better.
To a degree.
I think I've been up. We did carry out from Skyline up there on Lila. We've done carry out from the governor and from Padrino. I'm still not ready to go sit. Because to be honest with you, part of what I like about going to a restaurant is kind of the hubbub.
No, I'm with you.
Going on
You're
around.
right. The atmosphere's well, I can tell you the restaurant. Now, we tried to go.
Lori, the word hubbub.
Lori and I tried. It's a great word. Lori and I tried to go Saturday night on the way in to do the PM show. And we called 4 different restaurants, and we couldn't get in any earlier than 8:30. We were on at 9, so that didn't work. And I was calling it like 6:45.
Yeah.
So clearly on Saturday night on the weekend, but when we've gone for lunch or on off days, there's been relatively few people dining in.
Well, and I think that's part of the experience, and we were talking about that. Certain things are opening up. We talked last week. Well, Disney is looking at opening up, but no parades, no fireworks, no this, no that. It's like all the things that you would
right. Why would you go
there for?
And I feel bad for them, but I mean, it's kind of like that's part of the experience. You saw today Coney Island is opening up Friday. Sunlight Pool, and there's that Boomerang Bay, I think is whatever it's called, or maybe I'm off on the name. But then the other pieces of that,
that's the Kings Island thing. But yeah,
I'm sorry, I got them confused.
But you're right. It's certain things and it was mostly the slides because I think that's a difficult thing.
But you saw when they had a live report on Channel 5 tonight where they were showing the chairs and the social, and it looked like, and they're doing a limited number. And, to me, if I have to go through a different process just to buy a ticket, I just won't buy a ticket.
Well, but I would tell you this. If I'm one of the people that does get a ticket, I'm going to enjoy it more without people piled up on top of me somewhere else. So if you do want to kind of play the lottery, if you will, to be part of those reopenings, I think your experience will be a good one. Who knows how long it will last.
And hopefully, if you're fat, put some clothing on.
Well, are you talking to me specifically?
No, I'm not. I did not. Did I look at you or point to you?
You kind of did both.
There's nothing worse.
And I think I heard since you're fat, not if you're fat.
No, I said if.
Okay.
But if you go to a public pool and you're overweight, and I mean obese, cover up.
I am obese.
No, but I'm not saying
morbidly
I'm just saying in
obese.
general. Okay.
According to my doctor's thing last week,
so
I looked at my paperwork. I am morbidly obese.
I told you that doctor stuff is nonsense. Now,
I am my
ask you
perfect
this.
weight if I was 8'7".
But I will get, and here's the other thing I would tell guys: if you're really fat as a guy, wearing a T-shirt in the water is not a good solution.
No,
because it clings.
Yeah,
and that's even worse than looking at.
Yeah, honestly, the number of guys that shouldn't have their shirts off even in my neighborhood while they're cutting the grass. You're right.
Oh.
If they go in the pool and they have the sticky shirt on,
awful.
It's sort of like peeling like a sushi wrap off.
And I know this would never go.
Don't want to be elitist.
Politically correct world. Well, on that note, I'll offer up this. I've said for years there ought to be a bikini checkpoint at pools. That there ought to be somebody at a tape. Well, right. You go, if you're going to wear a bikini, you got to go in entrance A.
And to make it fair,
yes,
ma'am, you should not be wearing that bikini. Sir, you should. Don't you think?
Maybe. I don't know.
You think I think that's fair. Equally offensive.
But here's what I'm telling. I mean, how many times have you? Let me just say this, and I think anybody would agree with this.
You got me all self-conscious.
If you have a gut, a hanging gut, you shouldn't wear a bikini. Would you agree with that? Why the hell would you want to wear that anyway?
Are we talking about women or men again? Now are we back to women? Okay.
Here's what I know.
If you're wearing a bikini and we can't tell, you shouldn't have on a bikini.
Right.
How's that? Is that a good?
If you're wearing a bikini and you say, "I don't even know if she's got bottoms on," you shouldn't be wearing that. Am I right?
I agree with you.
It's disgusting.
That's
Nobody
why.
wants
That's
to
why
see
I wear that Borat suit, because you can.
Right.
It comes up here and it kind of lifts.
Yeah,
and
you know what I love
separates.
to do? I love to pull my pants like up to here.
Do you?
And just
Yeah.
it's
How do your
a
boys
god-
like that?
it's a
Who
god-
may or may not be
it's
behind
a
the
god
camera.
awful look.
No.
It's so bad.
Lord.
But I love to do it with Lori sometimes. I'll just emerge into the room with them all the way hiked up. It's an awful.
Now, when you
look.
got it pulled up here, though, are you working bat wings down out the
It's
legs?
not a good look down
No,
there.
I would-
Yes, it's
I would-
bad.
I
It's
would
bad.
bet.
But it's only at home.
Well,
I wouldn't do that in public.
Yeah, because nobody's watching the internet. No one. No, you didn't put that in anybody's head. Now.
I talk to Alexa now all the time. You want to come? You want to watch me at home? Set it up.
I do.
I don't care.
Yeah. Hey Alexa, should I be wearing this?
Answer, hell no.
I am currently malfunctioning.
Take
Do not
that
ask
off. Well,
again.
don't take it off.
Yeah,
Actually, put
yes,
something
that's
over
exactly
it.
what she says. Take it
Put
off.
something over it.
Good Lord. You know what? I think we need to move this to a more positive note. And in all seriousness, we hope you're having a good time. Just a little bit of way to lighten things up here. We're having a good time. We like hanging out. We've enjoyed working together for all these years on radio. And if we can just make this life a little bit more fun for you, or just
I probably don't need these songs.
probably not, but it's okay, Joe Cool. You're good. The if we can just have a little bit of fun,
Yeah.
that's what we really want to do.
Well, this should be fun. If this isn't fun, why the hell are we doing
Why
it?
would we bother doing it?
I could be
And
watching Chicago PD
that's
right now.
exactly
Come
right.
on, man.
And ruining all of the endings for me. But if you'd like to be a sponsor, we have some ideas for some different things that we want to sponsor. And one of the things that we thought about is there are good things going on out there. And I thought this was pretty cool. And in light of everything that's been going on with the protests, and I mean, we're in week 3
Yeah, well, this
Now-
is day 14.
of
right
these.
now.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
moving. Yeah, we're moving
Yep,
into
getting
the
ready to
third
go into
week.
the third week.
But
Yep.
this was in Buffalo, New York, and this is what we call Be Positive. So if you happen to be a large-scale business whose job is to collect blood, we might be calling you. Anyway, Be Positive is what we're calling it. Antonio Quinn Jr. saw the damage from the protests in his hometown of Buffalo, New York. This comes from, I think, CNN.com in New York, Fred. He grabbed a broom, got some trash bags, and started cleaning the streets by himself starting at 2 a.m.
Wow.
He didn't stop cleaning for 10 hours because he knew that some of his neighbors were going to have to get up and go to work. Broken glass, all sorts of things. He's an 18-year-old high school senior.
Wow, that's cool.
He saw that Bailey Avenue in Buffalo was covered in glass. He knew his neighbors had to go to work. So when his neighbors got up the next day, they saw that he had done most of the work. A guy named Matt Block saw this story on the news and knew that he was going to be in need of a car. This guy said, you know what? I have this red Mustang. I don't drive it very much. He made a gift of it to that guy so he
Wow.
would have a car
How cool is
to
that?
get around. Then somebody from an insurance company saw that story and said, we'll provide you some insurance to get you started. After high school, he was hoping to go to trade school to save up to go to college. Medaya College in Buffalo offered him a full scholarship where he's going to study business starting in the fall, based on the fact that he decided to go out and take care of his neighborhood and take care of his neighbors.
Well, what makes that story so cool is two things. One, he wasn't doing that
Yeah.
to get what he wound up getting.
Yeah.
And the fact that other people who didn't know him saw what he was doing and cared enough to do that. See, that's the cool stories that come out of this, not the calculated advertisements that we're all in this
Right.
together. We may be, to a degree, in some way, shape, or form in it together, but I like the organic together, not the calculated.
Yep, I would agree. And the fact that he said thank you.
Police activity.
Yeah, it's like-
Don't defund them, please.
Between the murder hornets and the police side, what is that?
They're in pursuit.
Hot pursuit?
Boone County, man, ain't messing until they get defunded. And then good luck to you. I mean, really,
Yeah, well,
good luck to you.
here's something to keep in mind when you're discussing defunding police departments.
Yeah.
Before fire and EMT come into a situation, typically, they've waited for the police to clear the scene to make sure it's safe for them
Right.
to come in.
I hope that
Keep that order of operations
hope
in
that doesn't
mind.
happen.
That's all I would tell you.
I would agree.
Now, do there need to be changes? I think we've talked about that
No
to the
question.
point where
Yes.
we can't talk about it anymore. If you don't know what we think and you don't understand what we've said, maybe we're not for you. But we do like to think that we are for many of you, and
Right.
we are one of you. And that's why we talk about the stuff we talk about, the way we talk about it, because that's the way you talk about all this shit. And that's what we want to be able to do. So Oh, Fred. Oh, we haven't done show and tell.
Are we out of time?
I was just getting ready. Oh, well, are we out of time?
I don't have a watch.
Well, until these guys fall asleep,
have
we
my
got all the
phone.
time in the world. We got to do show and tell. I forgot about this. This is a chance to show some stuff that we've collected over the years that our better halves probably would like to see in the trash.
Oh,
but we've
yeah.
kept it anyway.
Surprised it hasn't found its way into the trash when I didn't
stuff,
know it.
This half of your stuff, I would think, might have found its way into a bin somewhere. The other stuff on a wall.
Well, this is on a wall, and then part of it's lying next to the turntable.
Okay.
Where I still play some vinyl occasionally. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
So these are. So this is. I love music. We both love music. So these are these both guys in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I believe they are.
Yes, I believe so.
So this is a signed photo of John Mellencamp with the program from the back on the Scarecrow tour,
Yeah.
which I attended, which is a hell of a long time ago. So that's one. And
was
then,
that the one where there was rain on the Scarecrow and blood on the plow?
That's correct.
Okay.
Very
Just
good.
making
You
sure.
remember his lyrics.
Those are the only two I
And
remember.
then this is Springsteen, and you could tell how long ago this was. And then this was Springsteen. I saw him at the time. I think it was still Riverfront Coliseum. It's even got the tour date. It was 99-2000. So it's the tour guide for that.
Yeah,
as
hold it
well.
up. Hold it up for the main camera there, Fred.
There you go.
Oh, for this one over here. There you go.
There you go.
It's pretty good. No,
I
that's-
used to try to buy these when I went to and I went to when I was in high school and college. I used to go to every concert I possibly could.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so
everyone. Yes.
last week I showed you my top hat signed by
Signed
Slash.
by Slash, right?
Maybe you heard of the Slash. He's from the Guns N' Roses. And then it reminded me that I had this.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
And this is a picture, and it'll come up on the screen, but this is just to give you an idea of the size of it. Okay, this is a picture, and if you can see from left to right, that's me bloated from eating a
I was going to say you didn't look so,
so
good
no.
back then
this
either.
This group,
Right.
we were in London, England, and we were at a place called the Long Island Iced Tea Bar.
Now, what were you doing in London?
We went over there for the Reading Festival.
Okay.
So it was me, Hot Rod Johnny Fontaine, this person right here, who I'll discuss in a moment, Eddie Fingers, and our buddy Matt Harris. It was about 1,000 degrees in this spot right here where we were sitting, but we got this picture. And this, if you remember a guy named Jimmy the Weasel.
Absolutely.
Is Jimmy Salzarillo, Jimmy the
Yep.
Weasel. Well, we had been at an open-air market earlier in the day, and he found this top hat. Well, he has the Slash hair. So we spent the whole day dragging him around the subway with him slumped over our shoulders, pulling him, and people thought he was
They
Slash.
thought he was Slash.
They thought he was Slash. So everyone's like, oh, my God, it's Slash, it's Slash. We're like, please keep your distance. And we were doing the whole thing. So we took him in here to this Long Island Iced Tea Bar, and we got this picture. Great story in and of itself.
That's a great story.
Flash forward to years later. The year is 1995. Slash is out promoting the Snake Pit. So he comes in and does the show, the night show with me and Jimmy the Weasel on EBN. And so he's sitting there. He's there for about 2 hours. And I said, before you leave, I want you to see something. So I took him in, and this was hanging in my office at EBN. And I took him in, and I pointed to that. And he looks up at it. He goes, I don't remember that at all.
Which could be, at the time,
Exactly. And I said, well, do you know why? He said, why? I go, because that's not you. That's him. And then he
that's
wrote,
great.
he signed the glass. It says, fucking liar with an arrow and Slash with love, 1995.
That's awesome.
That's a great story. And then later we went downtown to the pool hall. I don't know
Yeah.
if it was Jefferson Hall or the billiards place. And we went down and played some pool. And he actually, and this comes full circle, I have a picture of him
Yeah.
with a Cincinnati police officer's cap on. And it's the only time I've ever seen him in a different hat other than that hat. So
And he, by all accounts, is a pretty good
he's a
dude,
great
right?
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk with him a number of times at Rock on the Range. And that night, we had to use the dump button on him 8 times for dropping the F-bomb that night on EBN. Well, we hit it 8 times. It only worked 3 times. So it's
Safe harbor?
no.
No.
So, but I think the statute of limitations has run out. So, but yeah, that's my trifecta
that's cool.
Slash story right there. But when he looked up, he goes, I don't remember that at all. That was like the crowning achievement of,
No, that's
of
really cool.
my rock and roll career. It was so great. But Salzarillo is a piece of work. We had a great time doing that.
Now,
it was a fun trip.
He related to Lori?
Yes, they're
That's what
cousins.
I thought. Okay.
Yes, they
I
are.
figured in some way that you don't run into a lot of
Salzarillos.
Salzarillos.
Oh, and Lori works for the Cincinnati Chamber.
Right, we had
who
her on the show.
We talked about the Ghost of Taste of Cincinnati 2020 with her just a couple weeks ago. And speaking of that show, Thursday night,
yeah,
we'll be
Thursday
back.
night we'll be back on 700 WLW. It'll be Gamble and Finn, the reality check. We've got 4 guests as of right now lined up. Jake Rouse, who's the CEO of Braxton Brewing Company, who was going to join us this past Saturday
in the morning.
AM, talking about great story about Braxton and the Business Courier and just kind of how they're dealing with COVID and all the stuff they've got going on. Pat Crowley, who's kind of I want to ask him with all that's going on now from COVID to protests. He's a political guy, very well great
Connected,
knowledge. Yeah. So he'll talk to us about that. He works for Strategic Advisors LLC, covered politics for the Enquirer for almost 25 or so years. Mike Dardis, one of the co-anchors of News 5, he'll join us again. And George Vogel, our last call sports director of News 5, will join us as well. So we got a big show planned for you. Thursday night, as always, on 700 WLW, 9 to midnight.
Outstanding. Well, I was going to try to see who else was watching, and I don't know how this works.
Have you lost? Well, you got it now. Hang on. I have to close with the Gamble, the hillbilly essence of the Gamble house today.
Okay.
So we're missing a doorknob on one of our doors. We're working on that. It's sad. The screws came out, and it basically just fell out. And then we changed internet providers.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, the guy came out and said, well, the reason your internet sucks is because of the connectivity under the driveway. And the driveway here at this house is an absolute piece of shit. They built a great house. Whoever the contractor was for this driveway, hopefully he's never poured concrete since because he's a miserable ass clown. Our driveway has to be the worst in the city. And honestly,
let me mark them off the list.
Well, no, I don't want them.
Okay.
If they ought to come out here and fix this, ought to be embarrassed. And I'm calling them, and I'll look at the camera when I say this. Mr. CEO of the builder, answer your phone. The calls are coming. Anyway, so he goes, well, here's the problem. It's not, we were told it's your signal, it's this, it's that. What it is apparently under the driveway, he's like, well, you just lose connection. Well, that's no problem now. We just lay the wire on top of the grass.
Great.
So we have the internet connection lying from where it comes in at the street, just laying on top of the. I just move it yesterday to cut the grass.
Oh, that's great.
So that's the way, so you can't operate a doorknob and just let the cable and the internet just lay out.
It's pretty cool. And if you live out in northern Kentucky in the county of Boone, and you're not sure if you hear the voice and you're like, I think that's Gamble. You can usually see them driving around in a truck with their grandmother in a rocking chair on the top because I think he was out shooting for some food, and maybe there's some bubbling crude somewhere back here as well. Good Lord.
And I have to tell you this.
The Boone County hillbillies.
One time, and you might remember this, one time on our show we had this guy from the Northern Kentucky Home Builders Association. They were promoting some kind of benefit that he was involved with, and I said, hey, well, I got you here, Fred. I said, I want to tell you about my house and my driveway. And I told him who the bid. He's like, oh, man, they do a great job. I said, well, they didn't do a great job on this.
Yeah.
It's a pile of crap. Fix it.
Ron Cobb says, get a new driveway. So, Ron, if you happen to be involved in a get a new driveway company.
I'm just going to let you know he might have been involved in one of those stories a little bit earlier, so he better watch his comments. I'm kidding. He's a great dude. I went to high school with him. We had a lot of fun together.
Something about a beer bottle in the Derby? Was that him?
No. That was not it. That dude was unidentified. I have no idea. That guy was a random stranger. I have no idea.
Uh-huh. Did you go in the men's room by chance while you're in the infield?
God.
Any women sitting in the sinks taking care of business? Because that happened while I was there.
That happened while I was there, too.
I went to the infield twice and never saw a horse.
And I didn't either. In fact, you want to hear how sad I was?
Here we go.
I was so loaded before they ran the Derby. I was at the neighborhood Frisch's eating a couple big boys and onion rings. I couldn't make it any longer. I needed
You couldn't
food.
make it to 6:30 in the evening?
You asked me about day drinking.
All right, so next time we're going to talk about sneaking booze
Talk
into
about night
places.
drinking next time.
Yes, which would be great because since you don't have any concept of a clock, it'll all be before noon.
Clocks don't matter when you're knocking a few back.
That's true, and when you don't have any place to go.
Right, like right now.
Yeah, all right. Well, we've gone longer than we should have asked anybody to pay attention. We appreciate the fact that you did. Thanks again to Steve and the handful of others, Glenn, and those of you who've been watching. We'd love for you to be part of it. Send us comments, anything you want to hear us talk about, or maybe, okay, holy shit, dude.
Literally almost got beheaded by a bird. Bird didn't like my conversation tonight. It's
coming right at you. Man. Oh, you know what? He was pulling a little banner that said Jim Bob's driveway construction, shithead.
Well, I tell you what, he could have probably built a better driveway than this clown. They have a bird just peck away and do a better job.
All right, we've gone.
You shouldn't have to shovel your driveway away. It's just rubble now. Sorry, my bad. Be careful walking on it. You could turn an ankle. It's what every good driveway should do to you. Where are we done? We're done. Don't forget.
We should just give them permission to turn it off whenever they want.
Well, no, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Next week, I'm going to take some video. I'm going to show it. People think I'm lying. You'll see it.
Okay.
You ever seen those ads where they say, if your concrete's dropped, how about your whole damn driveway? Can you fix that, Fred? We're done. You want me to sign us off?
Yeah.
Join us Thursday night, 9 to midnight, The Reality Check with Gamble and Finn. News Radio 700 WW. Thanks again. He said, what do you say? Because if it weren't for you, there'd be no need for us.
For us.
I got it, right?
You got it. It was pretty good.
All right, we'll talk to you Thursday and be back next week. And don't forget, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yes. We need subscribers.
You know what?
We need sponsors. I can't keep doing this for free. I need a driveway.
A lot of people have told us we have issues. We like to think we have the whole subscription, and we'd like for you to subscribe to it.
And I got for next week, I got another topic: sakes. Crushing news. Crushing. I got a little postcard that's some crushing news. I'll save that.
All right, crushing news. We're going to talk about sneaking booze into places you shouldn't.
I might not forget.
Yeah,
and PM drinking.
Yeah, let me make sure. I'll write that down next to the list of people who will never sponsor this show.
Thank you.
I don't think my iPad has enough memory.
And all wing it. If you have wings, we're calling you.
Okay, great. No, all right. I'm going to go back and see Calvin and clean up his poop. And
don't step in it for a third time, right?
We'll see you next time. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you watching. Thanks, as always, for participating.
Absolutely.
It's as much about you as it is about us. We've had a good time. Cheers, Fred.
All right, you got
next time, we're going to try to reduce our social distancing so we can actually go clink, clink.
There you
go. And thanks to our studio audience.
Yeah,
everybody that's been a big part
outside,
of the getting it done.
That?
And the missus who is on vacation but still eyeballing and responding on our behalf. So thanks so much. Obviously, we've been drinking because we don't know when to
she's far away from my sad.
Don't know when to shut up.
Right,
all right, I think that's pretty good.
I'm done.
All
Cut
right,
me off.
Are you out? All right, we're done in 3,
2,
1.